Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the May 13th Trees and Public Greenery Committee. First order of business is to accept minutes. Everyone had a chance to look at them, and
I have to abstain. I wasn't here.
I'll make a motion to accept.
do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we will have a landscape plan review. Max, that's with you.
So we may be,
And this is for 1465 Woodbury Avenue, the new Citizens Bank.
yeah, so that will be Matt Silva is a representative of that. So yeah, Stephanie, if we want to pull up the packet and go over the changes that were made. So we all remember it was several months ago when they initially came in with their planting plan and we had some concerns. So after some exchanges, we were able to make a number of changes. And Stephanie, if you want to go to the packet at the very end with all the planting plans. Going.
Max, I appreciate how you're laying this out on the city site for everyone to see. It's so transparent. It's really great.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I really appreciate your extra work on this format now.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is Stephanie's formatting into the agenda packet too. So
it's terrific. I appreciate that.
Yep. So keep going down because we're now, I think this is the first page. And then if we wanted to actually zoom out, just to kind of get a little bit.
And you can't see it.
All right. So I made a few notes here just to be as concise as possible. So on, if we have our own copies in front of us, we can follow along with this. And then as Stephanie gets situated, so on page A00.41, I think this is it right here, Stephanie. Want to go down a little bit more?
Yep.
So on this page, so we had a concern about the number of boxwoods, like literally almost every shrub that was going in was a boxwood. So they have that. The total number of boxwoods were cut in half and replaced with dwarf arborvitae and catmint. So there is a little bit more variety there, which I think is really solid overall. They also have hostas in there as well. So that's kind of the big change in terms of like the smaller shrubs. Also on A00.41, which is this page here, we can see that they added Malice, Sparkling Sprite, and Carpinus caroliniana to the right of way. So that bottom row of trees, you can see the 8 trees down there.
Yeah.
So they added, instead of it all being Coosa dogwood, they added those additional trees, which I think is also a great
Is
addition.
hornbeam there too?
Say again?
The hornbeam?
Yes, that's the Carpinus. Yep.
Okay, so is it every other one? Is that how that
No,
shows?
so it looks like it's PO7.
That was hard to read. To be
Yeah, it's a
honest.
little small. No,
It's really tiny.
it's a little small. So it looks like it's I believe it's 2 Coosa dogwood from the center walkway, and then expanding out, I believe those 2 are
Apples and
the crab apples, and then flanking them on the far sides are the PO7s. I believe those are the Carpinus.
Can you remind me what a hornbeam looks like?
Yeah, they're a little bit smaller of a tree. Usually they grow pretty like tight columnar. Yeah, a little bit more compact.
Like a crab apple.
Not quite. They usually have a bit more of a full, at least how I see them.
Mhm.
They are columnar, right? And then they have a very full, pretty much from grade up to the top. So crabapple will have more scaffolding branches. These will just they'll be kind of hedge-like almost.
Okay.
So those are kind of, that is the building, right? Like that's where they're putting in the bank. So
Right there in the middle.
yeah. So we touched on the changes to the shrubs and the changes to the tree selection. And then Stephanie on page LO2.01. No, I keep going. It'll be a little bit more detail on how the planting schedule on it. So I think this is it right here. Actually, no, go down a little bit more, my apologies. Yeah, so this one here, perfect. So on this page, so they added some Acer Formanii Firefall, which are Freeman maples. Those are on the left-hand side, that's PO3, so they added those to the plan, and also this is also, so they added those Firefall maples on, this is the far left side of the property, and then on the far right side of the property, they mirrored it, so they added 3 additional Firefall maples. Which is not this page, but as we continue to go down, I'll point those out again. And then Stephanie, if you want to go to the
Can I
next.
just ask one question?
Yeah.
So those maples are right at that intersection where the light is that correct? Left side, is
believe
that
that's
right
the-
where that intersection is?
This is the left side, so that building there is the
These?
Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I'm confused.
There's so this is
There's the road, that little.
this is the far left side of the lot where the Wendy's is, so that is an intersection that goes, I believe is that, it's not Portsmouth, it's,
Yeah, Commerce Way or whatever.
but yeah, so this is the far left, so this isn't quite where that bank is, that central, yeah, this is farther to the left, more north than where we're at here.
So the road is down.
Yeah, so Woodbury is
It's right there.
Yeah, yes, correct.
And the market basket going to that is
Pretty much
Way
the
up to the
right,
right.
up top.
all the way to the
corner.
right.
Offside.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So
And can I ask why did they go off their, why are they outside of their actual site?
Yeah, so
What's the purpose?
this is,
for them?
this is me kind of speaking out of, right, like my understanding is they were also, in order to get this bank developed and made and everything, the city wanted them to create community space along that whole area. So from that Wendy's corner, right, which is what we're looking at now, follow that all the way down to pretty much where the market basket entrance is.
Okay.
At that large intersection where the Rite Aid is, there are gonna be adjustments and things developed through this whole area to make the overall space more pedestrian and resident friendly. So right now, it's just kind of this green space with
Yeah.
Norway maple and drainage swales and stuff like that. So after, there will be, as you can see, there'll be some seating areas, which is those are the picnic tables right there. They're adding these trees, they're adding a proper sidewalk through and adding more access to businesses. And then as you get farther along, so closer to the bank, near that bank entrance, there's going to be a much nicer community space there with, and actually, if Stephanie, you want to go to the next page down. So this is a seating area. This is that entrance. So immediately to the right of this intersection.
That's the road that goes.
And this is, so immediately to the right of this intersection is the bank.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is that sort of main entrance to the plaza. Like I said, to the right of this road here is the bank, and to the left is another community space. So on this page, we're highlighting the fact that they changed and added a Kentucky coffee tree to that center area. That's
Between the two benches?
yes. Yep. And they added some more carpinus and some cherry, some prunus into the mix as well.
So their community space, okay, now this is making, because I was looking at this drawing and this wasn't community space to me with boxwoods and hostas.
That is for their business,
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, I
Yeah.
was a little, okay, so that's, okay,
Yeah.
I understand more now. Thank you.
So this is where Joe is more concerned about not having shade or.
yeah, I
people
think,
sitting
yeah,
in
so what they
the-
originally had there was just instead of the Kentucky coffee tree, what was there was a smaller ornamental, which really wouldn't have, eventually would have provided some shade, but I think with a large shade tree, I think eventually people will be more attracted to that and have an actual, large tree focal point, in my opinion. And then obviously the entrance here, and you can see that dotted line, that is indicating where the right of way is. So those 6 trees, as people enter this space, those trees are being planted on right of way. So that is what everything that I'm highlighting, aside from the shrub changes, because those were specifically for the bank and mostly on bank property. Some are on the right of way, of course, but all of these trees that I'm highlighting are going to be on that right of way space, which is what we're determining is appropriate or not in this meeting.
And those are all maples.
No, so PO1, PO6, and PO7, so I have those listed as, actually, I can list them if you wanna. So PO1 is the Coosa dogwood.
Yeah.
PO6,
It's a crab apple.
PO6 is the Hignan cherry, and then PO7 is the American hornbeam.
Okay, yeah, okay. And those, do they provide shade?
Those are mostly ornamental.
Ornamental, right?
Yeah, and that's fine because it's in that space where cars are entering. We don't want, I mean, I just, I usually see more of the more inviting, like ornamental trees as you're entering a business. And then
Mhm.
obviously the further out we get from that are greater opportunities for shade trees. And that's why we have the maples kind of flanking this overall project, as well as the coffee tree that's there in the center of that community space.
Mhm.
I believe that is it for the majority of changes here. And Stephanie, if you wanted to go down to the next page, I believe this will show. Yep, so this is the far right side nearest the market basket. And that is showing PO3. Those are the Freeman maples. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
I'm still hung up on the boxwoods.
Sure.
I mean, well, and I don't know, I mean, I know that this is, the bank building's gonna be built and I know that, but I look at this site and it's just,
Yeah,
I just kind of wonder about what's going to happen at this site in 5 years, 7 years, or, it's just such still 125.
sure. Yeah,
And then sort of the hosses and the, and I sort of question, I have catnip and it gets destroyed at my house with salt and with stuff, and I've had to choose different things. So I am a little, I don't
scroll up to
know,
that. 'Cause I
a
think
little less inspiring.
the larger.
They're not landscape architects. They do great architectural work with their buildings for Citizen Bank. I did look up their stuff and it looks great, but
Boxwood's just an industrial kind of plant.
It is.
It's like a honey locust. It's just tough. They just need something that's gonna be tough.
but I think this
Boxwood, inkberry, all that kind of stuff doesn't do anything. It's just tough, and
is inkberry a little bit, I just know that
inkberry
boxwoods
spreads,
get burned.
inkberry spreads too much.
It spreads too much, okay,
It's too,
okay,
it can get big.
okay.
They're just looking for a little bit of green and a lot of buying a site, like they want you to see the building.
Right.
But, yeah, I guess my thought is, because we're representing Portsmouth, we have to live with what we see there for years,
Sure.
and we would like it to sustain itself.
I think we are deciding the right of way spaces,
Okay.
right? And this is, I guess that's where I'm at. So if we're okay with where the right of way is right now with the tree selections and other things going in, and then we can create a note that says, hey, let's add more of that variety to the landscaping of the bank as a suggestion, or we can make it so that, continue to decrease the number of the boxwoods and incorporate another variety of shrub. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
if that's preferable. But again, I think, us with the right of way in the public space, that's kind of if we were to limit our scope a little bit more and then just try to make some changes or suggest changes to, I don't know, the landscaping around the building.
So the actual building, the actual Citizen Bank building we're not part of the contingency of the way-in of that. I mean, were they supposed to, they were supposed to do a community space. That was part of the connection to then getting approval.
Correct.
Am I on the right?
Yeah, so the
Okay,
community
just wanna make sure I
space
understand.
and anything that's in the right of way is really what.
So where we're.
Well, yes and no, yes and no, because I think it's all tied together, obviously. Obviously, the maintenance of all of these trees doesn't fall upon the city, even though they're in the right of way or whatever the case is, but we still have that, right? Like that is our our responsibility is to confirm what goes into those spaces. Less so for the bank property at
Yeah.
large, just because that's, it's private business. But obviously we should suggest, if there are suggestions or things that we should recommend changing, now's a great
Now the time to, that's,
Sure.
that's why I'm being kind of a stickler right now.
Sure.
Cause I find it, a little less inspiring.
Yeah, I think,
I love the Rebecca. I'm thrilled to see some Rebecca.
Manchester.
yeah, it's certainly par for the course, I think, with private businesses, like I don't.
Par for the course, but do we
Sure.
need to dumb it, it's sort of, it's just kind of
Yeah,
ordinary. I think that we've been presented in the past by more better things.
Sure.
Terrence Parker comes in, he prevents some nice things to us, and I appreciate his scope and vision, and I appreciate the use of more natives and things. I just think that we have a bad winter, and I know my boxwoods, they just get scorched. And I think you have 125 of them. Are they gonna rip them out, replace them? I don't know. I'm just kind of,
sure.
just a little worried.
Yeah, if we
Especially the
wanna,
catnip,
the cat mint.
cat mint,
Yeah.
yeah, cat mint.
So I don't know if we want to make some kind of recommendation for additional, again, a recommendation to reduce the number of boxwoods while we approve things that are going into the right of way, like the tree selection and all that.
Yeah, I love the Freeman maples.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the right of way trees,
okay.
thumbs up on that for me personally, but how about you guys?
You have a hand online.
Oh, thank you.
Do we wanna?
Yes, that is Matt. He is with the.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yeah,
Matt, you could talk.
Hi, thanks guys. So my name is Matt Silva. I'm with Bisbano Associates. We're the ones that put together the.
knob in here maybe, is that why we can't hear?
It's controlled by the other computer.
I know.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Matt?
Yes.
Yeah. The eye in the
I don't
sky,
even have to.
whatever they call it.
Thank you, Ian.
Hi guys.
So
Can
the
you
other
hear me
thing
now?
Deb, they're probably trying to do is really do crowd control with that. They gotta plant, little plants out of a bucket. Fill that whole area to get you to come, people are notorious for making their own paths from parking lots across people's landscape.
That's true. That's a good point, AJ. Yeah.
Again, boxwoods they're just tough.
Yeah.
So they could be filling this in, looking at it here online and, they're trying to definitely get you to come in one way or not anything else.
Right.
Three buttons up.
I do like the dwarf arborvitae in there. Gives it a little bit of more action.
Everything's small and short. They want you to see the front of their building and.
Yes, yes.
It's a commercial property.
Matt, are you
That's
there?
what they're trying to get. I just like that's not lawn.
You like it what?
It's not lawn.
Oh. Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah.
Oxford doesn't do it a lot, but at least it's not grass.
Is
Yeah, better than lawn.
is pine bark red mulch?
Not necessarily, that just means
Do you wanna put comment
mulch,
chat?
just like a general term.
That'll work.
Yeah,
There's something on the
that should be
Zoom
banned. Should
dashboard.
be, go back to
I like
that.
to wait. I'll wait on that too.
That should be banned across all towns.
It depends how,
Except the Catholic Church.
that's how it's made.
Is that red?
So
Changing my mic. Can you guys? No.
orangey red is still made of hemlock bark.
Yes.
Very, very hard to get.
Ah.
Color enhanced stuff. It's depending on how you make that color.
Mhm.
Some of it's actually made out of soil from Prince Edward Island. It's a reddish orange
Mhm.
soil that gets on everything. If you just go visit the damn place, it gets on all your clothes.
Hate
But
to
they-
exclude him
they
if he
actually
has
take
something
that,
to
mix it
contribute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The machine, so it comes up sort of orangey reddish brown, not bright, not red.
Right.
Oh, I think.
Yeah,
when
the
we-
city went from the red, we do black now, which I think is a popping
It's still colored.
background. True, that's very true. That's right.
That stuff is,
Yeah.
Some,
stay away from that.
So Matt, are you
the
maybe
black stuff
muted?
still dyed.
No, can you guys hear me now?
From color, it's not natural.
Yep.
The worst of that was dyed with, hold on.
Woo woo, West Virginia.
Yes,
We're
it's,
waiting for Matt.
Can you,
we saw his little microphone.
Yeah, you're,
So there must be
unmuted.
something going on with,
can you?
Could we see if Beverly can talk to see if it's an issue on our end?
He could call one of us
Mm-hmm.
and put him on speaker.
So Beverly is muted on her end.
right, exactly.
Hey Beverly, can you hear us? If you can, unmute yourself.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter
I
your
hope
Zoom
we're.
ID followed by pound.
Stephanie, can you send either one of them a message through the chat box?
She's unmuted.
She's
Okay, now you're
Yep.
unmuted.
Matt's definitely trying to talk. You can see his microphone going up and down.
Hi.
Matt.
Yes, that's me.
Hey, Matt.
Sorry, I was trying to dial in.
No, you're good. We see that your hand is up and your microphone is kind of pinging off. So if appropriate with you, can I throw you on speakerphone? Okay, great. Here we go.
Good.
All right, Matt.
Yes.
My name is Matt Sullivan with Bisbon Associates, so we put the plan together for you guys. So I just wanted to point out, I know we're talking about the boxwoods and the number of them, but that Citizens does have very strict requirements for the types of plants that we put into these areas. So I know you guys had mentioned that they're all very short, which is true because yes, it's a commercial building, so they want visibility to the right of way. However, their landscaping facilities team has worked very closely with security, and they're very aware of bushes or plants that go over a certain height to maintain visibility to the 24-hour ATM vestibule and to the 24-hour drive-up lane that's in the back of the building as well. So a lot of the items that you're seeing that are low are in part because of that security issue. So all of the other adjustments that we've made that were in the public right of way, we took a little more freedom on to make that community space a little more active, let's say.
Thank you. That's
Thank
very
you.
helpful.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about the security issues.
Yeah. Matt, did you have any other thoughts or anything you wanted to add to the changes that have occurred between revisions?
No, I was following what you guys were saying, and I agree with all the changes that we have made. And I'm happy that the board is approving or seems to be amicable towards the changes to the community space in the right way.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Matt? Anything we want to revisit before we make a motion?
Okay, are we ready to make a motion to approve, final approval? Because we gave conditional approval.
I think with the, like now knowing that the selections of these shrubs are intentional and they serve a purpose and they are also, I guess I'll say a requirement for the bank. Yeah, I think the added variety is definitely better than where we were at. And if it serves their purpose and requirements to develop the space, then yeah, I'm on board with those selections.
All right,
So the motion is to approve the changes to the community space or the
Yeah, I think to
plant selection.
the plant selection
Plant
as, yeah, plant selection as shown in this most recent.
okay, so
For the community space.
For,
all of it.
yeah, I was gonna say for all of it. Yeah,
Okay, do we have a second?
second.
Dennis, and all in favor,
Aye.
opposed?
I like grasses.
It's, okay,
all right.
deal.
All right, I think we're all set, Matt.
It's good.
All right,
Thank you.
all.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Matt.
much. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
So does Beverly have a specific tree that she wants to talk about?
It may be the 2 Mariette Drive.
Beverly, are you there?
Oh, that poor tree.
Beverly, I'd say if you can hear us, just maybe confirm in the chat box what you are here for, if it's for 2 Marriott Drive or something else. But I'll get started speaking about this tree. So yeah, this was brought to my attention. I think if we've all visited this site, we've noticed that there is some deadwood, some storm damage on the ground near the sidewalk. But yeah, this is definitely a tree that's in a pretty rough spot. I'm estimating that half the tree's canopy is declining or dead. And then looking at the root area where the main stem of the tree, there is quite a bit of loss of cambium. So I think we're attributing the site being a pretty harsh site, being right next to the road, it's been pruned by Eversource, all of these things are kind of adding up, and then that there's still quite a bit of dead up there. So if we were to start reducing the dead and declined elements of this tree, I'm really realistically looking at just a very, like all of that really good canopy is like really low to the ground. So it's gonna look really funky, and I don't think it would really, I don't think it would be the appropriate thing to do at this point in time. I think it just makes sense to remove. And yeah, that's where we're at.
I'll make a motion to remove that tree.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that a red elm?
Oh.
Okay.
Never heard of red elm.
No.
I haven't either.
So it was in our inventory, it was inventoried as a red elm. I was rolling with it. But I know that it's kind of an uncommon tree for this area, and I don't know if I come across them too often already. So yeah, anyway. That's my little spiel about that, I suppose.
I was gonna take a chunk of it, but I can tell you what it is, but
Okay.
take a chunk of it too.
You can say the same. Yeah, we can say the same. Great.
Okay.
Start.
Community campus?
Yeah, I think that's actually, yep, so keep going.
Another view of the same tree.
Yeah, so that's just the yeah, I think if we just keep going down, move on to the next thing at the community campus. So these are opposite where that Zen garden is. So if we recall where Arbor Day was held, it's a little bit before that by maybe 100 yards. On the right-hand side, there's an entrance to a trail. And these trees are just declining hemlock that I didn't actually see any woolly adelgid or anything on them, which was what I was suspecting ultimately. But I think just because of where this site is, the general site use, I think it's really dry. And just the overall environmental stressors, I think is what's doing these trees in. Yeah, they like to be a little bit more wet than I'm assuming is happening here right next to the road. Again, super compacted with all the walkers that go through there. Lots of students, a lot of people just using that trail. So thinking it's just general environmental issues.
Any evidence of scale?
I looked pretty close. I didn't see anything super amiss, but I can double check and take another peek.
It would have had both at one time.
Gotcha.
No way it didn't have a Delta at some point.
Okay.
Portsmouth was low.
Yeah, sure.
And then the trees behind and around it don't impact them much, they'll
No, I mean, if
become more vigorous perhaps.
yeah, I think the other trees aren't as bad. And I think I'm just kind of starting, with the worst of the lot. And as we continue, we'll, add remove trees as necessary. I do know that there is some interest in revitalizing this space. So as I mentioned, it's sort of a trailhead. The trees were originally planted with the intent to block. You can actually see at the bottom of this photo, there's an electrical panel box of some kind. They were planted originally to block those things. obviously they're much larger trees now. There is some interest in having like the Boy Scouts come in and do like a more trail kiosk and having it be just a more inviting space so people recognize that it is a trailhead of some kind.
So no replacement.
Potentially to block that box, yes, but as of right now, I'm not intending it to be a tree replacement site.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're just trying to box something, you can do something short like a juniper.
Like a box elder or a boxwood or something. No.
Conifer.
Yes.
Mind that.
Yeah, if there's interest from the community campus, because I'm kind of working with them on this and another volunteer who manages the revitalization of the Wilder Zen Garden, which we've approved some removals in the past. So he saw those the other day and just said, hey, like what about these trees? And just kind of make the space a little bit more inviting. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Do we have a motion to remove? Scott?
Well, no, actually, I just have a
Question.
question.
Sorry.
Since this is such a forested, natural area, I wonder if, this is just a thought, but could you ever leave the dead tree for, bugs and insect habitat
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's no reason not to.
instead of like chipping it up and hauling it out of there?
Yeah.
It's just an idea.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, if, it's almost like there's a bit of a drop off. So it's like there's the trailhead almost like funnels people onto the trail. And then kind of around the edges of that, it's almost like just woods that, yeah, we could very easily lose stuff into. So yeah, I see no reason not to. Absolutely.
Good idea.
We like to hide, so the only limiting thing is like, we try and hide from view any like straight cuts that we do. So if it's like creating a 90-degree angle that kind of looks amiss, if there's a passerby walking through and like, oh, like that's kind of funky, like, oh, someone cut that and left it here. So we will probably like cut it up into smaller sections, manageable by hand.
Yeah.
And then just drag them out and have the cuts facing the interior of the woods. That way it just looks a little bit more natural.
Yeah.
At least that's how we handle it. And actually, if you walk that trail, you'll probably see plenty of instances where people haven't done that and it looks a little, like I said, you just look at it a little funky, like it's not a part of the landscape, so to speak. Yeah, we
Great
can
idea.
absolutely do that.
Thank you. All right, so do we have a motion to remove or not remove?
Scott.
We have a motion.
To remove.
I'll make the motion
Okay,
to
Scott.
remove.
Okay, and we have a second?
I'll second it.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, aye.
Abstain.
All right, we are through our tree removals, all business, tree planting wrap.
Yeah, we finished up tree planting last week. So if we recall, we were delayed by like 2 weeks this year for our tree delivery, which is kind of a pain in the butt for me because I really anticipated us planting pretty much end of March, early April. So then kind of put together 2 weeks of meaningful work with the tree crew to get us to when the trees were delivered. And yeah, everything went really well. I think every year there's always one or two species that its roots have been a little too mangled, and we'll kind of see how they recover from that. This year was that we have some ginkgo that had some really rough looking roots, but they were already sending out new rhizomes from the base of the tree. So I'm hopeful. They're pretty hardy little trees, so we should be good with that. And then, yeah, the other trees that were a little disappointing were the Cledrastis kentuckiae, the Perkins pink yellowwood, which are my favorite trees. Yeah. They were a little bit undersized, and they were kind of sad looking when they came off the truck. So I'm not particularly hopeful for those, but stranger things have happened. So fingers crossed that they actually establish and start putting out some good branches. So
No dot.
yeah, other than that, everything went really smooth. We planted the 150 bare root, and then we got an additional 8 trees in the ground, including some arborvitae and a spruce tree. So yeah.
Spruce
Be done.
What's that?
and a
And a
spruce.
spruce. Yep.
Thank you
Yep.
so much.
We started our watering today. Dennis, I know you reached out about your tree looking a little sad. Was it?
Peak
Yeah.
Well, don't, on Saturday, it'll be great
Yeah.
after this rain comes.
Yeah, I know, we started watering today. I received in the mail, some of our soil amendments, so we will start that program in a little bit here. And yeah, it's kind of just, everything's back on track and
It's great.
we're looking pretty good.
How do you do soil amendment?
Yeah, compost tea,
So inject it?
yeah.
Or you
soil,
pour it on
yeah.
top and let it seep down, or you inject it?
We do more of the soil, the actual injecting. So we have like a 8-inch probe watering gun. So we stick that right in the ground in the root zone and water
Yeah.
it. So it bypasses all the grass roots and other competitor roots. Drenching is totally, what's that?
I said, oh, yes, of course.
Of course. Yeah, so that's how we've been watering and we're putting water right into the tree's roots. Every second, so, for the first year, we're watering pretty close to where the roots are. And then the second year, we push that out a little bit to encourage those roots to continue to grow away from the base of the tree. So as we continue to water the next year, last year's trees, we just open that up a little bit more to just encourage them to grow out. How's your tree looking, Ian?
Fantastic thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, leafed out really nice. It's got, leaves are inch plus at this point.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
looking
awesome.
really good.
Yeah, so Ian got one of the Oasis, the paper birch, but it's this specific, it's a variety that I hadn't heard of. So yeah, looking forward to see how those do, definitely. And you'll give us, you'll report back?
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I guess that's it for the tree planting wrap up. Yeah.
I'm just such a busybody this morning. I'm so sorry. I'm wondering again, every time I go past, across from, out by Market Basket, across from the closed Rite Aid, that.
Yeah, Woodbury and Market.
Yeah, we've talked about maybe putting something there in front of that, refurbished, neighborhood,
Oh, the
homes, there, it's right across, right where you.
Rite Aid?
Yeah, yeah. Do we have a right of way there that
Yeah.
we could plant some, it just looks so, looks needing.
Okay,
Of
we
something.
we've planted a total of 3 trees through there.
It's not where, I think not, maybe we're not talking about the same, it's like
Okay.
right where you make a right, here's the Rite Aid and here's that.
So if I'm on Woodbury turning right onto Market Street,
Right, it's on the left-hand side, kind of back a little bit. Do you know what, right by the herbal path?
Tulip tree in there.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the
Talking about? Yeah,
light
they,
at the Rite Aid, light at the Rite Aid.
right.
And then you,
yeah,
Right
okay.
across the road.
So at
So
the
you're
light.
facing
over in the herbal
Basket.
places.
Yeah.
It's back there on the left-hand side, it would be if you're
Okay.
facing Market Basket going
Gotcha.
that way. It just looks so, I don't know what part of that space we have, but
I'd have to-
it's
yeah.
always really
Okay.
I think they need to replace that sidewalk.
There.
There's a lot of sunlight in that area.
In front of the mobile home park.
that whole thing retooled,
Yeah.
right? And I just think it would just make it more friendly and just look.
The old road used to go right in front of that, down to where Applebee's is now.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That has to be rebuilt and that sidewalk rebuilt.
Hmm.
But it wasn't right away. That was Woodbury Avenue.
Cause we had to take out 2 of those ashes down there, they were yours.
Okay,
I helped Jeff up with those 2 trees years ago.
okay.
I didn't know.
So you want to do in front of that. where
Yeah.
The banking slopes down.
Kind of next to the pharmacy or not the pharmacy?
I
but-
It's sort of like if you're going, you're at the intersection and Market Basket's right in front of you. On the left-hand side, if you back up a little bit, there was
Store.
there's this, yes, the little store.
Yeah,
Beyond the little store, right there, there's an
Yeah.
open path. That'd be just great to
Yeah.
have some,
yeah, I know where you're talking, absolutely.
okay.
Yep.
Great.
Well, the city trees look beautiful, the private trees in the Frank Jones neighborhood. I just drove by there a couple days ago. And the beaches just are glorious. And I don't know for how long they'll be glorious, but
Ones on Austin Street aren't gonna make it.
Really?
No.
My beach is just
It's so sad.
rocky.
It is.
It's looking beautiful, even
It's gone
after
nuts.
Eversource did their damage.
By midsummer, there should be some more chemicals out available for folks that are gonna be much cheaper
Oh,
for
good.
treatment. It's still gonna be a costly process, but it's not gonna be as costly as it currently is.
Injection or spray?
Is it?
Injection.
What is it? It's a chemical?
It is chemical control. So right now, there's only one chemical control out there that's right now working. I can't tell you the name of the chemical right now, but they were, it was like $15 an inch of caliper of your tree for treatment right now. Because it takes so much of the chemical to wash through the tree. They're putting basically through a 50-gallon drum of mixed chemical and water. So it takes a long time for that tree to eat up that much liquid. It's a product that right now, tree companies are working on potential alternatives to that.
Right.
And how long does it yearly you have to come?
Right now, Bartlett is saying 2 to 3 years on that treatment.
2 to 3 years.
But again, this is all new, so it's,
So you don't even know if it's effective.
It's like treating a pandemic when you don't know what you're treating.
yeah, I mean, we know how it's moving, where it's moving, all that kind of stuff. Our guys have done a lot of testing with that. We actually put, it's a worm, it's a microscopic, it's something you can't even see. So it's hard to trap it or catch it or, whatever
Right.
it is. So they're making some different traps for it to try to figure that out. We actually dug up beech trees at my place, planted them at Bear State Park 4 years ago now, and put mud and dirt and water and all over the trees to try to impact them with the nematodes, as a way to try to figure out how stuff is moving. It's moving a microscopic worm, so it can move in a teaspoonful of dirt.
Right.
Are you moving it on your shoe? Is your dog moving it up? All these kind of things. So we know the beech leaf problem is worse in areas with people and birds. Can we blame it on people? Can we blame it on birds? We don't know, but we just know that, so it could be like adelgid. Adelgid hitches a ride on birds.
Uh-huh.
The worst infestation of adelgid that we had was right in Elwyn Park. Everybody's got 5 bird feeders in their backyard. When the quarantine was in the city, like we were in Elwyn Park, trees had to be treated or removed. So it was sort of a knee-jerk reaction at that time to try to stop it. Obviously, it didn't stop it. It's most of the state. So with beech leaf disease, they're trying whatever we can. Now,
I have to show you a photo. I happened to be out on the Smith College campus in Northampton, Mass. And, their campus is actually an arboretum. And one of the beech trees, I looked at the leaves and I thought, oh no, I think that's what I think it is. And then I saw a much older, beautiful purple leaf beech that looked fine, but it wasn't right next to this tree. It was far end of the campus, but I'll have to show you the
I
photo.
find it's tougher to find it. The purple leaf beeches, it's tougher to see it. You gotta take a leaf and really look at, so throw your phone behind it with light in it. It's tougher to see it if everybody has seen beech leaf disease, to me, I describe it as piano keys. So one segment of the leaf vein is, dark in color, one's regular color, one's, sometimes they skip, whatever else. But there's a really obvious definition of that. And all that happened, this past winter. Happens, when it's hanging out in the bud form. So you don't know what you don't know until the leaves show up. So we don't know how bad it's going to be from last year, until all these leaves pop out this year.
And then as it progresses, do the leaves shrivel up?
Mhm.
So the trees that I've seen like that have had that disease.
The tree starts to give up on those leaves. Because the tree, has a sense or knows or biologically tells itself that that leaf isn't doing anything. It's very similar to like anthracnose on a sycamore. The problem is beeches, from what I've seen so far, are not throwing out another set of leaves. So sycamores get anthracnose in the spring, warm, wet nights, moist, conditions. They get anthracnose on leaf. The sycamore says, throw all the leaves off. They throw the leaves off. They punch out another set of leaves. But that takes a lot of oomph to do that because they're leafing out twice. So they're taking all whatever reserves they have to make another batch of leaves. I'm not seeing beeches do that. I don't know if other people are seeing it or not.
So if you have a beech tree, would it be prudent to go ahead and have it injected?
Right now, you
I would
gotta,
love to protect my beech.
yeah, so you gotta evaluate whether it's, the beach in your property or a beach in your property. Because the cost of treatment is very costly. It's man hours is what you're looking for. Take a whole garbage can full of, water with a little bit of chemical in it, and you gotta wait for the tree to, essentially absorb that. So you're paying for that duration of time. Some of the new chemicals are going after stronger chemicals. In theory, less, product needs to go into the tree. I just haven't seen any of it yet. If you wanna see any of this kind of stuff, look up work that Bartlett's doing. Beth Brantley, she's been at my place several times to speak, but she's doing, her and other people are doing a ton of research on it. She is the public face of a lot of that research.
What is her name again?
Beth Brantley.
Bentley.
Um,
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay,
City's looking good.
motion to adjourn.
So move.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. Putting up with it.
It's better design, just to sit in the fireplace.
Oh.
Parents first.